What if every journey began with the push of a button? Where would you go? With the Mercury Avatar's 7.5e electric outboard, all you need is a destination. It's your invitation to fully immerse in the natural world around you. The Avatar outboard's portable design and intuitive controls make getting on the water easy, while quick connect batteries let you bring along the power you need, so you can be ready no matter where adventure takes you. Stay connected while free to explore with a vivid display that tracks battery level and range. Or plot a course on the intelligent mobile app. Avatar connected systems share everything you need to know to get the most from any journey. The all-new Mercury Avatar's 7.5e outboard. Intelligent, all-electric propulsion designed to make exploring effortless. Let your journey begin with Mercury Avatar.
Every sunrise is a promise. It's a celebration of what's to come. Memories waiting to be made. And adventures to be had. Each new day is an open invitation to live beautifully. Make every day more beautiful with Maui Jim.
Introducing the Toadfish non-tipping can cooler. It suctions to any smooth surface, but easily releases when lifted. It gives your favorite can a chance to go where no can has gone before. From a lack of cup holders on a rocking boat to a lack of hands, the non-tipping can cooler keeps your drink upright, accident-free, and icy cold.
Boom, and we are live. This is 2023, and my name's Steve Morgan. We are here in the ABT office, bringing episode 34 of ABT live to you. And you might have noticed Nicole's been out there collecting all of the new advertisements. Had some great words from some of the fantastic ABT sponsors there at the start. Particularly liked the Toadfish drink holder. How good was that? Sideways on the surfboard on the top of the car. We have those here. They're given away in every single Brim and Bass event this year. They're in some of the Z-Man prize packs. The guys from Tackle Tactics do those. So good to see that we have some of that cool kit to give away. Of course, you can win Maui Jim sunglasses. Wow, Mercury Avatar. How good does that look? There's going to be one of those. Any luck on the Bass Electric prize boat this year. So welcome. We've been back. We haven't had much of time off over Christmas really. Nicole Smith has been working hard, not only just making this show, but we've been putting together all of the prize boxes, organising the trophies from Joey Urquhart, the badges, the novelty checks, the prize packs, the permits, the entries. It's a big team effort in here. Kim is the one you call to organise your memberships and your entries, and we already have greater numbers, I think, in all of the first 4 or 5 events that we had last year. So it looks like 2023 going to be a pretty big year. It's about to get started in February. We get ready in January, but man, in February we have 2 Brim events down in Victoria. We have a Brim event in WA. We have 2 Bass events down in Victoria. We have a Barra Australian Open and a Wonga, and a Bass Electric event as well. So basically every single series is represented in February. We're not home much in February, but we are going to see a lot of you guys out on the water. So talk a lot about the opening of the seasons tonight. Let's welcome back the sponsors for 2023. Daiwa, the headline sponsor for ABT Brim, and the Daiwa Brim Australian Open. So 8 qualifiers, an Australian Open and a grand final this year, as well as Samaki sponsoring the Brim Queensland Open. So big Brim calendar, pretty Sydney-centric for the guys that might be missing some of the Berkeley Super Series events. For the Bass Pro Series, half a dozen different events comprising of 3 road trips. We've got the Victorian double-header road trip in the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series. We have a New South Wales version of the road trips in the Hunter River and Lake St Clair. And then up in Queensland, we visit some of the big bass factories, Lake Boondooma and Lake Somerset on the Queensland road trip. There's, of course, the Rapala Bass Australian Open on the Anzac Day weekend on the Clarence River. Pretty sure we're going to get a pretty big feel for that. It's always fishes fantastically. A great river, 100 kilometres of river to catch a bass in there. So that's on this year, and all of the sponsors are the same. And who could forget how good the Wilson Fishing sponsored Barra events were last year? And that consisted of the Venom Rods Barra Australian Open and the Xeric Barra Series. And of course, the ultimate part of that was the Xeric Barra Tour around Mackay and Peter Faust Dam. Had some of the Americans across, had high 30s numbers of boats fishing, plenty of barra caught. It was a pretty cool time. So we're aware that diesel costs a bit more. It's a bit more expensive to do things nowadays. So we've sort of plugged together road trips wherever we can so we can maximise your money when it comes to getting out on the water. Thank you very much. Big thanks to Nicole. She's over behind there. I haven't got a camera pointing on it at the moment, but she is waving at you all. She is the backbone, gets all of the technical stuff done behind here. Looking a bit tired at the moment. Haven't even started the season yet, but we've got a lot of kilometres to drive come the end of this month, the end of February anyway. We have finished this. This is the ABT Tournament Angler Guide that comes out each year. This one here will be inserted in 15,000 Fishing Monthly magazine, so we can show people that are just general fishermen how cool tournament fishing is. We have all of the Angler of the Year and lists at the end. We have some articles in there. We have ads from all of the sponsors. It's around 40 pages, I think, this month. 40 pages this year available with your Fishing Monthly magazines. But, of course, it's also free digitally. If you really, really want a sneak preview of it, go on Issue and you can search for it under Fishing Monthly and you will find the free copy. It's up and going now. But we will email everyone their free code for the February edition of Fishing Monthly and the Tournament Angler Guide. That will come in an email to you on Friday. We've got tomorrow off, Australia Day. Nicole is doing that email out on Friday. If you're not getting that email, membership might be up to date, but also it might be going into your spam folder or your junk mail. So if you're not getting ABT's emails, have a look for it in there. It comes from which email address, Nicole? The emails? admin@brim.com.au. Yeah, that's probably where it comes from. So that might be what you're looking for in there. Tournament Angler Guide, full of good reading for you there, starting the season. Also, as we normally have on ABT Live, we've got a comp. Going to give you some stuff. Just let us know where you're from, whether you're watching on YouTube or on the ABT Facebook page. Put it in the comments down below. Let us know where you're from. Tonight we have a couple of the Xeric Live mullets. We're not skimping on the colours either. The old dark ale one is an Awonga favourite. It'll be very popular in the Australian Open at the end of next month. We've got some of the world's thinnest PE. This is PE 4 Siglon, is 2.8 pound. I can hardly see it. We've got some of that there. Some of the Halco TB 55s, the Tilson Bass 55s that they launched last year, and they helped us launch at the Cania event. We've got that. We've got some of the Daiwa Bait Junkie soft plastics, including some of the Risky Critters. That's in the pack here. We have got this, and everyone gets one of these during the year. This is the best thing ever. This is Maui Jim's sunglass cleaning kit, and it comes with a few things inside. One of them is a little screwdriver you can use to tighten up the frames on your glasses. But the cleaning fluid and the cleaning cloth, good for cleaning your glasses, but also a pretty good sounder cleaner as well. A lot of guys keep them in their boats, use them to keep their sunnies clean and their sounders clean. So see us at the events to pick up your free one of these, but we've got one in the kit tonight. What do we got? We got Crankerback as a sponsor this year, and we've got one of these giant cranker crabs here in that kit. A couple of stubby coolers, braids, scissors, some Rapala and Humminbird buffs we got, all in the one thing. Oh, and of course, the toadfish, leave it on your wall cup holder. So let us know where you're from down below, and we will pick a random one from one of those channels a little bit later tonight. Let's get straight into it. We're starting off the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series down in Victoria, and we have lined up a couple of experts down there. Let's catch up firstly with Duff Rods, Steve Duff. So every time at this time of year when we come into Victoria, we go to East Gippsland, we talk to Mr. Bass in East Gippsland, Duff Rods, Steve Duff. Mate, you have to put your Barra tackle away for the moment. You're going to have to catch some Victorian bass there now, mate. That's a little bit of a different set of aspirations, size of fish-wise, but we want a report from you. How's it going to fish this year for the first 2 rounds of the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series?
If it hangs in like it has been, it's going to fish really, really well. There was a Central Coast Victorian lure, a Central Vic lure casters comp on the weekend at Blue Rock, and the top 2 or 3 in that all had bags with 40s in them, and a couple of high 30s. Glen Maggie's been fishing really good. Like, we've been pulling lots out just about all over the lake, and they've all been really good size. You're still getting those little fish. Those little ones are always going to be there because
My favourites.
Yeah, that's what we're putting in every year. So, and they don't get the 40s unless you put those ones in. So, last year we lost a heap of fish over the dam. So, end of October, I made a call and we put 80,000 back in, and that's what we caught all those little ones in February.
Yeah, wonderful.
But
tell us, someone like we went to Glen Maggie last year. Great looking lake. There's so many different parts to that lake. There's a couple of different river arms. There's some timber up there. There's river country. There's open flats. There's timber. There's rock walls. There's sunken like tea trees. There's a bit of everything in that lake. How come it was so hard last year and it now seems to be quite easy at the moment?
Mainly last year it was hard because of the floods that we had the year before.
Yeah.
Because in where I live here at Paynesville, like with the Mitchell and the Tambo and everything, we had something like 9 floods down those rivers in 18 months.
Yeah.
So the catchment that Glen Maggie's in with the McAllister River, that's 120 k's by river just to get up to Lacola, which is about only really a half-hour drive.
Yep.
So as soon as you get a spit in the hills, you got 120 k's of water that's just pushing down.
Yep.
It's got to go somewhere. They can't let it. There's no spillway on the dam. There's only gates. So they've got to open the gates.
Yep.
And what happens with fish when you open gates?
That's like going down to seeing what Paynesville's like.
That's right. Like Maffra downstream, it's been fishing its head off.
Yep.
And it has done ever since then. So, but those fish that have been up the river, where they'll be up in the pools and everything up the river, a lot of those fish are pushed down because we haven't had the rain, which has been good.
Yep.
So they've come down with the flows, and because the gates are open, it's an irrigating dam, so
yep.
they're constantly pushing water out of it. So
yep.
the fish are moving with the water.
It's that's good news for especially the interstaters who like travelling down there. We're not exposed to how well those lakes can normally fish, and it was a bit tough last year. Some of those events, of course, guys like Matty Langford got onto some great fish in Blue Rock.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the lakes were tough, and if it's going to be a little bit more rewarding for guys this year, I think we can lock it into the ABT calendar moving forward, because we love the diversity in the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series. We've got a couple of events in Queensland, maybe targeting some gigantic bass at the right time of year. We have both river and lake events like St Clair and Hunter River, great variety in New South Wales. And that Victoria arm just gives both a different cohort of anglers, but also our current bass anglers a different way to catch bass. And I think that's pretty interesting. I've never seen bass as keen to eat things on surface as Blue Rock bass.
Yeah, no, you throw anything on top. Just get a bit of foam tied onto a hook and throw it on top, and they'll normally come and eat it if you just let it sit there and jiggle it. It's a great cicada bite in Blue Rock.
Yeah,
we caught them on the weekend on cicadas, but and fly. Like the fly, I know a lot of guys that have been fly fishing the lake as well and doing the same thing, having everything from cicadas through to a bass vampire.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fishing well. You've just got to nut it out to find those bigger ones.
Of course. And now for people that haven't been to Blue Rock again, let's explain to them what it's like. It's a lake of 2 halves. There's a big basin area with long, clear points on it. And then there's a river section that's very timbery, and there's endless amounts of timber. But I think the wild card, I suppose, is the redfin and the other trout and stuff that are in there. Like last year we caught trout. There are schools of redfin that are chopping on the surface like a school of tuna going around. It's pretty hard for a Queensland bass fisher to get their head around pelagic chopping fish that should be mac tuna. Yeah,
so the redfin push the bait fish right up onto the edge and then blow up on it like a school of tailor does on a school of bait in the lakes or the estuaries or the ocean.
Yep.
and you'll see them, you'll hear it happening, and you go, what the hell's going on there? You start looking around and you'll see it. One thing I will say to people, if they do see it, don't be scared to throw a hard body of some sort in behind it.
Yep.
So
The bass will follow them.
the bass will sit behind and they'll take up some of the scraps, or they'll chew on some of those smaller redfin that are trying to join the party.
Yeah, and that's something that it was hard for us to get our head around. The other thing is when you're crankbaiting Glen Maggie and you're fishing these sort of sunken forests of tea trees. I'm not sure whether they're underwater again this year, but you could be throwing a little fat lure around some of these roots, and all of a sudden you have the world's biggest carp jump on, and it's for a moment you're thinking, is it the biggest bass ever? And it's like, no, it can't be.
No, it's a carp, but it's fun. Water levels in Glen Maggie are sort of between 80-85% at the moment. They're draining.
Yep.
It seems to be dropping every day, every time I look.
Yep.
We fine to get in and out. Like I put in the other Monday last week when I went up. I had half a car's worth of water in front of the truck.
Yep.
But you still get on and off all right.
Yep.
The boat be a little bit deeper around there with the ramps as well, so there shouldn't be any problem.
So tell us about one of the other exciting things about Victoria is the fact that it's a real camper's paradise down there, those two tournaments. The
Yep.
first one at Willow Grove, which is a town right near where we put in a Blue Rock. Your young fella organises the cricket club, so everyone can get together and camp at the cricket club, use the facilities. It's the world's cheapest camping. But also at Glen Maggie, the powerboat club there's facilities and showers and everything there. They've even got a bar there. They're
Yep.
two very social camping events, aren't they?
They are. Willow Grove's awesome. We can get both events will get everyone together. And from everyone who said that they wanted a campsite at Blue Rock, it looks like everyone's going to camp together, so we can all just be in a huddle,
Yep.
to socialise, do what we want to do off the water, go and tear each other's heads off when we're on the water. So that side of it's really good. The tennis club there, the showers and everything will be open there. Because it's midweek, we're not sure about the stuff over at the cricket club itself, whether we can get it open or not, but
Yep.
I reckon a couple of phone calls will get that sorted.
Yep.
And then you got the powerboat club at Glen Maggie, where gates are open, everyone can camp inside.
Yep.
Got all the facilities there. There'll be no little blue dunny shower there this year. Everything's been finished off, and the amenities are all good.
Excellent. No, I think it's great, and it's great to have those local community sporting clubs, embrace fishing, and of course they can make a little bit of revenue off the competitors, but let me tell you, the prices they're charging, they're not making much revenue off the competitors. They're there to help out.
Like I think it's even less than last year, to be honest with you, at Willow Grove. I'm pretty sure Toast said it's only $10 for the weekend, but and that's weekend, not per night. That's the weekend.
Yeah.
I think powerboat club's still $20 a night.
And I think that that link to book those to book the powerboat club will go up on the info sheet as soon as we get it. There is a little link you have to go online and book the powerboat club camping. But as soon as we have that information, we'll publish it and get it up there. I suppose what I wanted from you, Duff Man, is if you're going to give some of the guys that are travelling to these tournaments, and we've got 20 boats already entered in these events with still a couple of weeks to go, give them a little bit of what do they need to pack when it comes to gear they need to catch bass in Victoria? If they don't know where to start, what are they starting with?
Okay, so at Blue Rock, it's your chubby sort of baits to the edge, spinner baits, chatter baits, plastics, jig spins, pretty much just about anything. Gulp. Going vertical with gulp. If you can spot something on the bottom, just camp on it and drop straight down to it. And then you've got being able to gulp the trees as well. Once you go into that river section, if you've got the patience to go tree to tree to tree, like Langers did last year, and you find a few fish sitting on those trees, you just sit on that tree. Dave Mann won a comp there years and years ago, and he fished the same tree for 3 days.
Yep.
And
just recharge.
Yeah, every day it just reloaded, and that was just gulping trees. But as you've seen, there's a lot of trees.
Yeah, you got to find the right tree.
That's right. That's it. Glen Maggie at the moment doesn't matter. Whatever your favourite way to fish is, they'll eat it at the minute. I know guys that have been gulping them, spinner baits, chatter baits, hard baits. I even know a bloke who's been throwing a 20-gram spoon around in the open water and has been catching them.
Right. So there's been some schooling fish sitting around in the open water, which is something I think was a bit absent last year. We couldn't find many of those fish.
Yeah. They were sort of there's some deep tree roots and whatnot out in the centre where you'll generally find them, but to actually find them schooling's hard in that lake.
Yep.
Moment that's what they're doing now. It doesn't mean in 2 weeks' time it's not going to change, but at the moment, whatever your favourite way to catch a bass is, you'll catch it in Glenmaggie on just doing your favourite thing.
Well, that's awesome, mate. We'll really appreciate the heads up for the guys anyway. Just give them the confidence that if they want to come to Victoria, you can drive once, fish 2 tournaments. It's not going to cost you a heap of money for accommodation and for camping. It sounds like you're not going to be able to spend $100 for accommodation for the whole time.
No.
And you can share the bass and experience with the guys. Sort of sounds a bit like the Barra tour. Everyone's staying together in the same place and sharing the time.
That's just what I like about it. Like everyone's together. Yeah, like I say, you can get on the water, rip each other's heads off while we're on the water. Get off the water, go and have a beer with whoever you want.
Yep.
Cook dinner. Go to the Blue Duck should be open, which is the local bar restaurant.
Yep.
Or cook yourself, whatever you want to do. Socialise afterwards. And I'm not sure what our fishing sessions are at the minute. Is it 2:00 finish or a 1:30 finish?
Oh, it'll normal finish.
Yeah.
So dawn till early afternoon each day.
Yeah.
So I know the guys say there's a good afternoon bite, but you know what? Our guys will work out how to catch them out in the morning. You watch.
Oh, well, we'll get them in the morning. That doesn't matter. So, but I'm just on the social side of everyone camping together.
Oh, plenty of time in the afternoing to rig gear, have a beer, and I think the sun goes down at about 10:00 at night in Victoria nowadays anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, about 9:30 at the minute.
Yeah. So if you're going to be up until the sun goes down, you're probably going to bed too late.
Probably you are. You could be.
Duff man, one final thing. You're back on board with ABT this year as Duff Rods as the Rookie of the Year rod sponsor. Yep. Great program to see. We got a couple of great winners there last year, and looking forward to helping out a few newbies to their tournament pathway.
That's all it's about. Let's get the new guys into it. Let's move them through, give them confidence to use good gear, and see if they can progress from there.
Mate, really appreciate your support. Thanks for your time today to get everyone up to speed. And those 2 events, they're both on the ABT Tournament Series app. You should have live scoreboards for both of those tournaments. Looking forward to the results rolling through, and of course the massive interest that those live scoreboards have during the week in February. If you're not on the Bass Tour down in Victoria, I guarantee you're going to be watching it on the live scoreboards, aren't you?
Pretty much. It's the same as when I'm sitting here and it's on up in Queensland somewhere, and I can't get there. You're looking every 5 minutes to see just what's going on.
That's right. You're telling them what they should be doing because they're obviously all doing it wrong.
Yeah, sometimes.
Awesome, mate. Well, thanks for joining us, mate, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Not a problem. Thanks, Steve. See you then.
The crystal clear real-time returns of Mega Live imaging are showing anglers everywhere fish and structure they never knew were there. But until now, your live sonar view has been limited to the path of your trolling motor. This can make it difficult to keep your transducer beam focused on fish while also steering your boat, especially in wind, waves, and current. That all changes with Mega Live Imaging Target Lock. This technology allows your motor and transducer to move independently of one another, letting you control the sonar beam with the handheld remote, foot pedal, or your fish finder. Once you locate a target, you can lock in your Mega Live view, even when in motion or anchored with Minn Kota Spot Lock. That means you're free to fish while never losing sight of the fish holding structure that you're targeting. With Mega Live Imaging and Target Lock, it's as simple as lock on, fish on. Only from Humminbird.
All right, I think it's time we talked about this man, Mick Johnson, third in the ABT Bass Pro Angler of the Year last year for the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series. I thought it's time to put Mick Johnson on the radar because this year is going to be Mick's year. Welcome to the show, Mick.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
You probably had one of the most consistent years of all last year, and most years that would probably go close to winning you an Angler of the Year title. But you were looking at the dust of those 2 pests, Mitchell Kane and Matty Langford last year. I think our collective theory should be 2 guys can't have that good a year again 2 years in a row.
That's right. No, this year is going to be my year, Steve. Yeah, time to leave them in the dust.
there's no secret that Fishing Monthly and Rapala are now about 10 feet apart when it comes to offices. And I saw you sneaking around the Rapala offices the other day. Spill the beans, what's going on?
Yeah, so this year we've been lucky enough to on with the Rapala boys, and yeah, I'm really excited to join the team. It's going to be a hat flames down there at the moment, so I think Tim's the only T in the whole in the whole in the whole turnout. But yeah, we've got a couple of Matts, a couple of Micks and a Mitch. So no, I'm excited. It should be great. They're a great bunch of guys, and looking forward to joining the team and yeah, seeing what we can bring to the table.
Well, you don't call him Tim, you just call him Morgo. That's the way around it.
Well, there you go. All ends.
And I heard Rapala had room for you in the budget now that Brandon Palanik's moved on from Rapala to a different sponsor. A little bit of a hole in the budget, so you haven't got real big shoes to fill, just, the current of the year.
Easy, yeah.
Let's have a little look at the season. It consists of 3 road trips. They start in Victoria next month, where we go to Blue Rock and to Glen Maggie. We come back up to Queensland, fish some of the stuff closest to your home at Boondooma and Somerset. Somerset, where you won the Rapala Bass Australian Open last year in a great mathematical contest between you and Tommy Wood. And then we go down to a new ABT arena, the Hunter River, and an old favourite, St Clair. So how do you think the season's shaping up for your strengths and weaknesses? Mix of rivers, lakes, in 3 different states?
Yeah, it's going off the previous years, I suppose. A fish not too bad in the Victoria. I think I end up with a 3rd and a 5th down there.
Yep.
The river rounds don't seem to, seems to go all right for the style of fishing, I suppose. Somerset and Boondooma are probably the 2 of my strongest dams to fish, so we couldn't get better ones there to be part of the season. So it should be good. Just having the format the way it is, I think, is a great way to do them kind of things, I suppose, because it sort of in that south, it puts you in that modern frame to be fishing that kind of fish and that style of fishing. If you get what I mean, you're not sort of jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
Fishing 40, 50 yards, spoons in Somerset, and then have to go back down to a Victorian round and throw a 20th jig head for a bass down. So get down there, get a bit of a feel for it, and get that over and done with. Come back up and do the double headers up here. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it.
Well, one of the things I've learned over my years of tournament fishing is sometimes the tournaments that you see on the calendar that you look forward to the most end up sucking the most for you. And the ones you look at and you think, oh, I don't think I'm going to know any good at that one, they end up being the best ones. How did your year shape last year? Did you have some success in places you thought you mightn't, and other places you struggled in places you thought it might have done well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think over the years, myself and Matthew Langford, we always talk about it together, and it's like over the last couple of years we used to do a lot of fishing, and I think it's an individual thing. Some people can pre-fish and not get preconceived ideas in their heads, and other people can, they can block that out and pre-fish as much as they want. But for myself in particular, if I pre-fish, struggle, a bit of a dumb bugger. I struggle to get that out of my head when it comes to tournament day, and places like down Victoria, them rounds down there. I think you go into them places not really knowing them too well, so it's sort of, for me, it leaves you. You go in there and you fish. You don't like go to Boondooma, places like that. I'm always looking for places where I used to catch fish, places that I know hold fish. But them southern rounds are ones that we obviously don't get to go down there and pre-fish them. So you go down there with an open mind, sort of a clean slate, and you just fish. You don't think about it too much, don't overthink it. And I think that's a lot to do with it for my style of fishing. It is anyway.
Tell us a lot about how I've noticed across Brim, Bass and Barra tournaments how live sonar is starting to play a lot with the Barra because they're quite big, you can see them. Brim, it doesn't play much at all. It's good for finding structure and for find bait and stuff like that. Where does Bass fit for you in the middle? I know you're a bit of a Garmin man. You've got some of the live scope stuff on there. How important is live sonar to your pre-fishing?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it it can play both ways, as you'd know. You know, you can, again, if you use it enough, and it's taken me a few years to find it, I suppose you'd say, where you're not sitting there video gaming fish and just not leaving them and not going on to fish that are actually going to bite. That, I think, hard for some guys to get out of their head. And again, so it takes some guys a long time. Other guys twig onto that pretty easy, but quite often you'll see guys locked in fish trying to get them to bite, sitting there trying to video game fish them, and they're just not going to bite. So I think it's good for finding fish. It's good to see how fish are reacting to it, and I think if you can sort of get that locked into your head, what them fish were doing just before you got a bite, or you might have an active school of fish, you can sort of remember what they've done leading up to before you turned them on, and the next spot you go, if fish are doing that kind of stuff, and just don't wipe them, but come back to them. But if they're not going to bite, they're not going to bite, and I think that's I think it's a big thing, I suppose, because not only can you sort of idea how they're reacting, but you're not sitting there fishing, especially if you fishing treetops, stuff like that. You're not sitting there casting it. You might have 10 trees and only 2 trees out of them 10 have got fish on them, so you're wasting your time sitting there casting at the other 8. You can scan around. There's fish there. We'll fish this tree.
Very good. You're the current Rapala Bass Australian Open champion. We all remember that great weigh-in at Lake Somerset last year where we stumped Tommy Wood with the maths questions. Worked out he didn't have enough to quite catch in the end. But this year...
Didn't have his calculator.
Yeah, it didn't have, and it wasn't switched on anyway, don't worry. With the open venue in Bass, it changes. So we've gone from Somerset, Land of the Giants, great jerkbait edge bite. We're moving it to the Clarence River this year. So it's moving states, it's moving arenas to a river, moving on to place with tides. You've fared well in the Clarence, though, in the past, Mick. Is it something that you think you're a fair chance of maybe defending your title on this year?
I'd like to hope so. I'd like to think so. It's river fishing's one of them. I still haven't grasped the whole tide thing like you Brim fellas know inside out, but I've sort of just learned enough, I suppose, over the last couple of years to get a bit of an idea. Anyway, I'm confident enough to get fish, but we all know you just got to be able to get onto them big fellas, and it's one of them things, isn't it?
You got to sort of catching up. You catch a big one.
That's right. Yeah. You can keep dwindling through them. You usually end up getting them.
I want a couple of predictions for you before I let you go. I know you're on holiday over there in Perth at the moment, enjoying the west of our country. Where do you think you're going to catch your biggest limit this year? In all the arenas we're going to go to, where do you think?
I would have to say either Somerset or Burndooma. That time of year, probably Burndooma. It'll depend on Somerset, as we all know, it can be rocks or diamonds, and it's probably that time of year. It's not going to be huge, big fish, but I think that time of year, Somerset, Burndooma, usually fishes really good that time of year, and again, it just depends. But I think either of them East Queensland dams they'll fish good this time of year. It's just which ones are going to be the fattest ones.
Yeah, they're cool, mate. And we know you've dabbled in a few other species in the past. You've had a bit of a crack at Barra. We've seen you at a couple of Barra events in the past. Is there anything on the menu outside of bass this year?
Hopefully it won't be for the start of the year, but when you get into the actual rounds at the end of the year, it's a possibility this year that we go up and have a crack at them. It's a hard time for us with our work. We do a lot with air conditioning and stuff. So once that heat comes, it's pretty busy for us. So it's if it plays into work, we'll get there.
Straight up there. All right, mate. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your vacation to join us on ABT Live tonight. Please tell me you didn't cheer for the Scorchers when you were over there, mate. We don't want that West Australian cricket team with your health titles.
Sorry, I'm not much of a sportsman. I don't follow too much sport, so I don't even know who the Scorchers are, to tell you the truth.
There you go. So if anyone says an over in WA, they're just these
Never
All right. You're all set for the rest of your WA holiday, mate. We'll see you in the Victorian Tour, the first 2 rounds of the 13 Fishing 2023 Bass Pro season. We'll see you down south in a few weeks, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I tell you what, how lucky is Mick Johnson not knowing about cricket if you're a Queenslander after that Heat performance today? Doesn't know who the Scorchers are. Glad he doesn't know who the Heat is. We talked earlier to Steve Duff about the information about the camping at the places at Glen Maggie. Those info sheets are now up on the website on abt.org.au. If you want to book your camping down there, costs bugger all. Those guys are willing to host you. There's a link there for Glen Maggie, and I think the info about the Blue Rock, the cricket club, and the ABT Angler Group. All right, that's where it all sits. Now, we've got a few rule changes for Brim this year. The main one being the fact that we don't send out 40 invites anymore to the grand final. We send out 30 invites. So combine that with some bigger numbers this year. It might be a bit of a hard job to get in the grand final this year and to win yourself that Mercury-powered alloy craft boat. So we've talked to a few of the guys. We've pre-recorded a few segments here. We're talking firstly to Mario Vukic, previous grand final winner, but also the godfather of East Gippsland. He knows how to catch them there. And we're going to have a chat after that to Joseph Gardner, who's our man over in Perth in WA, to give us a bit of a preview of what's going to happen for the first 3 events of the Daiwa Brim Series that are happening in February. Let's talk to him. Welcome to ABT Live tonight, Mario Vukic. You're not the current grand final champion anymore, mate, and you failed, I suppose, to retain it on your home soil. But boy, you got beaten by someone who's pretty good on that joint Malakuta, Mr. Hodges. It was a great event, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, look, it really fished better than I thought, to be honest with you, because it had so much pressure, Steve, leading up to it, and it wasn't a massive margin between sort of first and 5th or 6th. So a lot of people were still in the running, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you know what? We had the Flathead tournament the weekend before us. I had a lot of people commenting that was like, where did all the Flathead go? It was like they cleaned out the Flathead, and that was awesome.
That was good, yeah. Look, I just spent a couple of weeks there over Christmas, and they're back with a vengeance, I tell you. There was some good, yeah.
So we're coming back to Malakuta. It's going to be one of our season starting events as well. We've got our I suppose, our most popular Victorian road trip, which is Gippsland Lakes and Malakuta. And of course, we're bundling that at the end of 2 bass tournaments as well. So we're having the Blue Rock Bass Tournament, Glen Maggie Bass Tournament, Gippsland Lakes Brim Tournament, Malakuta Brim Tournament. And because 3 of 4 of them have to run on the app anyway, we're running the Malakuta again this year on the app. And I think it's going to be an interesting, a bit of a comparison between our weigh-in event and our app event, because we've had a few of them on each of them now. And one of the bits of feedback I had from the Brim Grand Final, where there were people trying to watch the event and they're going, wait a sec, I can't see what's going on out of the water. I suppose from the spectators' point of view, they missed that connectivity to the anglers on the water.
Yeah, look, the app, I don't worry about the app, to be honest with you. Once you get into a bit of a rhythm, it's basically almost the same as stuffing around, putting it in the well, measuring it. It's really, yeah, that's it. So, no, it works okay for me. And to be honest with you, for Malakuta, there's a lot of very skinny yellowfin in there, so you're probably going to weigh in a bit more, to be honest, on the app.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm conscious of it because I'm aware of how it works. It becomes a length tournament, not a weight tournament, and you're looking for the longest, skinniest fish you could. Now, last year for me, that was black brim. I found the long, skinny, shallow water black brim were actually a lot better value than the really stout, high yellowfin. And I suppose that's the strategy you need to take into both of these events. You want to find long fish, not fat fish.
Yeah, that's it. But look, it's the same for everyone. So look, it still makes a great event, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, we all love getting down into East Gippsland in particular. Let's start at Gippsland Lakes.
Yep.
My most favourable memory of you recently is bringing in around 6.5 kilo limit of munted, enormous, like zombie-like brim out of Holland's Landing one time, mate. But every other year, it kicks you right in the pills. What's it going to be this year? Is it going to be a Holland's year, or is it going to be another year?
Well, matter of fact, I went yesterday to Holland, and I got to the boat ramp, and I didn't even put the boat in. It is like chocolate brown water, so I just kept going. Went to Paynesville instead.
Yep.
I caught one brim for the day, but it changes all the time. The conditions weren't great, to be honest with you. But I think Holland's, unless it improves, it might be out of the picture.
Yep. It's funny, isn't it? Is Holland's a place you can judge how well it's going to fish by looking at the water quality straight on? Like, you look at it and say the water's dirty, but we all know that brim bite in dirty water sometimes. Is Holland a place where they're like, it's dirty, we're not playing?
Well, because there's probably 3 rivers running into a lake, and then that whole lake has to drain through Holland's, it's always some sort of dirty. It's never ever clean. So they're used to the dirty water. But when it's like chocolate brown, you can't see a millimetre under.
Yeah,
forget it. And that's what it's like at the moment. If it clears up a little bit, so you can see, I don't know, 5-10 centimetres under the water, not a problem.
Game on.
Yep.
That's awesome. Now, moving to Malakuta, you've spent some time at Holland's there, and now you've spent some time at Malakuta already, mate. You must be the best pre-fish guy in all of Australia for these events coming up.
No, look, I just love fishing both those two systems, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Malakuta, we spend time there as a family every year for a couple of weeks. So it's not real serious fishing, but it still gives you a good indication. So, and it's fishing pretty good, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's going. There's plenty of yellowfin in there. The blacks are a bit harder, but they're always hard over that time of the year because they're a little bit more spooky than the yellows.
Yeah.
So they get a smashing, and they don't like the boat traffic. But that'll soon change because there's not as many people there now.
Let's talk a little bit about further down the season. We've on purpose, we've put together the Australian Open this year on Sydney Harbour, 3 days on Sydney Harbour for the Daiwa Brim Australian Open. And we've put the Hawkesbury River Brim event that weekend after it. Now, we've done this especially to be helpful to people who are out of town, be they Queenslanders, Victorias, country New South Wales, wherever. You've got one place where you can stay at Narrabeen at the caravan park there, and you can fish 2 events from the one base. I know you're excited about that this year because you had quite a good experience on the Hawkesbury last year, for instance, didn't you, Mario?
Yeah, I did. Probably my favourite system in Australia, believe it or not, the Hawkesbury. It's just absolutely beautiful, and you can do anything. Whatever you're good at, you can do it in the Hawkesbury and find your area and be relatively successful. So it shouldn't scare anyone, to be honest.
I know that there will be people that will come there for the first time. Well, let's break it down a little bit. Whatever you're good at, you're successful at. Let me take you through the things that I've done well on the Hawkesbury in. Crankbaits, no worries, either around the bridges or around the rocks. If you want to throw a Z-Man grub or something like that on the car park, on the flats, no worries at all. There's a 5 kilo limit for you there. If you're a cranker crab man and you like sinking that down rocks or bridge pylons or whatever, no worries. I'll tell you from personal experience that if it's warm up there and that water's over 20 degrees, the top water bite up some of those clear water rivers can be amazingly good. And then, of course, what else have we got? We've got blades. You know, the guys fishing blades around the moored boat hulls in pit water especially. That tournament's a big one doing that as well. So I suppose it's not how am I going to catch them. It's like how am I going to catch the big ones when I'm there. And every one of those techniques you can catch a 5 kilo limit on.
Yeah, well, that's the special thing about that place. You really are, like, you've got pit water, you've got all basically the Hawkesbury up high on the bridges. You've got Cowan Creek, which I only just discovered last time I was there.
That joint.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, look, it shouldn't scare anybody. And like, we don't even go over the other side. I don't even know what the other side's like. What's the other, Brisbane Waters or something?
I've never been there either, mate. It's all right. Don't tell anyone.
Right.
I've only been there from Brisbane Waterside. You do have to go over across a little bar sometimes, but even without Brisbane waters, it's hundreds of kilometres of water to fish. And I suppose that's the message for anyone, whether if you're a Gold Coast canal fisherman that's good at throwing things at pontoons, that is in Hawkesbury for you. If you're a Glenelg River bream fisherman that loves going along a rocky bank and crankbaiting a bank, guess what? There are banks like that. And if you're a Malakuta fisherman that likes catching them on the flats, well, there's probably only about 1 million square kilometres of flats in there to fish as well. So I think we've set it up especially this year. If you want to have a crack at the Open, you want to have a crack at the harbour, they're two fisheries that are actually not hard to catch a limit in. They are harder to catch bigger fish in, and that someone's always going to work out how to catch the big one. So all I'm saying is, well done on your mantle as grand final champ. You're extending it out. You're going to be Australian Open champ soon. I can smell it.
Oh, geez, I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. I mean, really, the Sydney Harbour that's again another beautiful system that we don't really get a lot of access to.
Yep.
And I mean, have Tassie every second year. I mean, it just worked out good this year. To the Australian Open, I mean, I watch it all the time. I never miss a second. I watch all the live streams and stuff like that. And I've been so much looking forward to this. So, yeah, but I might need a few tips from you because I don't really know too much about it, to be honest.
Well, let's face it. Currently, the Queensland Open champion is a Victorian. The current, which is Reese. The current Brim Grand Final champion's Victorian, which is Brad, and the previous Grand Final champion, which is you. Victorians have done pretty good in the Brim recently, mate. I think it's time that the Northerners started to wrestle some of their trophies back.
Yeah, well, look, we've got some great anglers. I think our systems aren't as easy to catch fish as yellowfin, I think, and so they really have honed their skill over many, many, many years. And I think, I don't know if you agree, but it's easier to go from blackfin to yellowfin than from yellowfin to fish for black brim because it's a bit more tricky on blacks. But look, as you said, it's one of the best fisheries. So why shouldn't we go and try and fish? I mean, Jamie's a Queenslander and he won the Australian Open. So again, no one should be scared, really.
No, that's awesome, mate. One question I've got for you before I let you go, and we've had a good shake of the tree at how good Victorians are. Let's put that one away for the moment. Right. What's going to be, of those 4 events, Malakuta, Gippsland Lakes, Australian Open and Hawkesbury, which one are you going to catch your biggest bag in? What's your prediction?
See,
it's hard, isn't it?
Gippsland or the Hawkesbury, but I would have said Gippsland easy, but because of all the fresh water we've had this year, it's sort of fishing a bit funny at the moment. But there's big fish there. If someone cracks it, we could beat. It could start with a 7. Put it that way.
Right, so a 7 something in Gippsland Lakes. All right, we'll quote you on that at the thing. And if someone catches a 7 kilo Mars, we will be bowing to the Brim God.
Look, there's plenty of big fish in there at the moment. I mean, you fished it for 10 years. You used to look at that 36 fork fish of a kilo as you try and get 5 of those. They're 1.3s now. I don't know what's happened, but that average big fish is a 1.3. So let's see.
All right. Well, awesome, mate. I'm looking forward to it. I'm all excited now to make the big 20-hour drive down south. I know Nicole's excited as well to run all of those tournaments. She'll probably put about 2,000 fish through the apps when she's down there. So you're going to have live scoreboards the whole time for all the events. We're looking forward to putting on a show. We'll see you down there in a few weeks.
Thanks, Steve.
So here we go. We have proof here that phones work east to Western Australia, all the way from WA. Joseph Gardner, one of the keen WA tournament anglers. You guys run your own series this year, and you've stepped it up a notch this year because you guys are running ABT's 2 boater non-boater events for us, and we've engineered it to make sure that some WA guys make the grand final. How has that gone down locally?
Oh, pretty good. I know there's quite a few anglers that are really keen for it. Look, it's a completely different format to what we do fish over here in our rounds, so it's good to have the non-boaters fish with the boaters over here. So get to try some new stuff with some new people as well.
And what we've done behind the scenes is we've engineered the qualification rules so that if some WA anglers qualify in WA, we're sort of going to retain those anglers if they can't go. So say if the third or fourth guy down the list can go to the grand final, we've made WA a special case so that we can try and get some WA qualifiers from it. So I think we're going to try to see how it goes this year. Of course, last year, Michael Samet, how good did he? He went to within 20 or 30 grams of winning the grand final.
Yeah, just very small sinker away from a victory there. But look, that would have been an amazing comp to go over there and fish. So.
Yeah, and look, Malakuta it's pretty special. It's a very fishy joint. But I tell you what, the place we're going to, Port Stephens, which is the grand final of the Daiwa Brim Series this year, it is bigger and it is more diverse than Malakuta, and you can catch fish from nearly 3 hours from one end to the other, from way up the top of one river to way up the top of the lake system the other. It is literally nearly 3 hours of driving at 4 knots in the 4 knot zones and all that sort of stuff. So all you WA guys, you'll be able to find something you love doing and find somewhere to do it. And that's always what I think a key to a good grand final is.
Well, that'll be very similar to Perth here. I mean, Perth here is loaded with lots of 5 knot zones, and it takes, if you want to go from the traffic bridge all the way up to Middle and Brick, you're looking at a 3.5 hour, 4 hour trip. So very, very similar in that sense.
So we're going to try and get some WA guys across. We went across to WA last year. Fishing was reasonably tough. We were sort of in between those summer and winter seasons, and it was pretty hard to get limits in that event. Personally, I found it very hard to get even any fish, right? But that's not an indictment on the arena. I think it was the time of year that we were there. We're a little bit earlier for the Swan this year. What can you expect on the Swan River for an early summertime event?
Well, look, I think surface will definitely play a big part. Typically, they're a lot more spread out. I mean, fishing right all the way up past Middle and Brick, and then right downriver all the way, you've got all the stuff down towards Fremantle, the yacht clubs, all of that whole stretch will hold fish. Even the narrows where you were fishing in that last comp, which you couldn't find anything except for that mulloway. Look, even those sort of areas will hold fish. It's one of those ones where they'll be really spread out, and it's likely to be different from day to day. We've had a big temperature change over the last sort of 3-4 weeks, so they're a little bit shut down at the moment in some areas. But look, in the next couple of weeks, that should really fire up, and they get used to the temp and start moving up shallow.
Is that because it just got warmer, or it just got cooler?
Just got warmer, so a real steep increase in the water temp. And on top of that, we've had a lot of boat activity the last few weeks as well. Obviously over Christmas. Yep. So some of those areas, the sort of jet ski areas and water ski areas, those ones have had a lot of boat traffic. Water's not as clean as it usually would be, and look, the fish there are probably a little bit more shut down. But all the other areas seem to be going good, and as soon as they settle into that warmer weather, warmer water, it should be good.
Bit of a shout out to the anglers that may want to fish the WA events. We've got this event is the first round. It's on the Swan, but we have an event on the Blackwood a little bit later in the year. And I must admit that is one of my favourite joints to fish, because even when you're not catching them, you're catching them, aren't you?
Oh, that's right. Exactly right. So it's always good.
The other thing is, that's explained to the people that don't know, the WA guys that might be watching this segment, explain through the boater non-boater event. It's not going fishing with your mate. Tell me how it works.
Well, you get your random pair with if you're a non-boater, you get your random boater for the day one, and then a change up for the day two. Obviously separate limits. I believe it's still 3 fish for the non-boaters, 5 fish for the boaters each day. So look, perfect way to fish and learn something from either your boater or your non-boater. I mean, I fished as a non-boater and I fished as a boater. Both times, no matter who you fish with, you always learn something new. So that's the case.
That's awesome. Now tell us, those two events last year, Pete de Groot and Mitch Vane were the two winners in those two WA events. Are they the favourites leading into these events on some similar arenas?
Well, look, I would probably pick Mitch Vane as the pick for this one. He has been pre-fishing three times a week for the last few weeks, so I know hopefully there'll be a few people following him around, I think.
Nice. And then when we go down to the Blackwood, who's your smoky for the Blackwood?
It has to be Alex. He knows it inside out, no matter what the conditions. So really probably depends how it's fishing down there. If a lot of the downriver stuff comes into play, it really could be anyone's. But if it's just a run and gun, change your areas there, because it's mostly open water, so you can sort of run and gun. If it's that sort of an event, Alex is probably the go.
Now, let me tell everyone who's going to fish the WA events, typically the fields are a little bit smaller than over on the East Coast, but you guys get exactly the same prize packs, trophies, badges as over East. So I think when it comes to value for money, especially in the non-boater division, there's a whole lot of prizes going to be giving away to a small but keen field, I think. What sort of numbers do you think we might end up with? You're going to think we'll hit with 20 boats for any of these events?
20 would be good. I think anywhere between sort of 15 and 20 should be where it sits. I mean, look, it's a unique opportunity, and how you've rigged up the qualifications for us over here, hopefully that draws a few more numbers, because it's a big thing to try and fish more than just the WA events. But that grand final is definitely something that people will be keen to get over for, I think.
Yeah, I think it is it's a twice-a-year opportunity you're going to have to do it this year. So we'll hope we can get some qualifiers over there. It might be you, Joe. You never know. It might be Alec. Might be one of the guys that haven't had success yet. That's the thing with fishing. You never know what's going to happen till you hit the water. That's
right. It's 99% luck most of the time.
There you go. So look, thanks for joining us, Joe. Really big thanks for you guys for putting your hands up to help us run the events over there. It's a bit cost prohibitive to get our team over there to do it. So we're working together as a team. Let's get some WA guys into the grand final and see if you can get one little place higher in the grand finals this year. Boater or non-boater, doesn't worry me. If you've got to drag a boat back over to WA, not my problem.
That's right. Or at least we might even get the double header. Non-boater and a boater can take it out.
There you go. Aim high. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing the results over on the Swan.
Cheers, Morgan.
Coming up, the Daiwa Brim Series, those 8 qualifiers, plus that Australian Open, we have got what you want to do covered. Remember, all of this tackle on the table in front of me here. We've got the line, the lures, buffs. We've even got, I've got a demonstration for you here now. Check it out. The horizontal can holder. Fantastic. Amazing. Let us know where you're from. Doesn't matter if it's YouTube or Facebook. Put it down the bottom there. Also, we've got the Bass Electric Series starting soon. We've got a whole new team running it. We're going to catch up with Bo Everly to find out what the Mercury Avatar Bass Electric Series is all about. So here he is. This is the Mercury Avatar Bass Electric Series new tournament director, head of the team, Bo Everly from Grafton. Thanks for joining us tonight, mate.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, happy to be here. Very excited for the year to come, taking over from Adrian and Westy with the Electric Series. So, yeah, they did a wonderful job, and hopefully our Bluefin team can follow suit.
Yeah, look, and I agree. The Bass Electric Series there's only so many tournaments that Nicole and I can run. If it's not for you guys sticking your hands up to say, we're going to run some tournaments as well, the series sort of wouldn't really exist. And we've taken that opportunity this year to Bass Electrics is a real, we want to reduce the barrier to entry to the Bass Electric Series. So one thing we've done this year, $20 entry fee, and if it's your first time you're fishing, you don't even have to join ABT. You can just come and try it and see how you like it. So if you want to take a young fella fishing, $20 a head and you're on the water, that's not too bad, is it?
No, that's exactly right. So it makes it pretty easy for anyone to come and have a crack, really. If you're thinking about going as a non-boater or stepping into the pros and it's your first time, come give the Electrics a try. We're just a bunch of blokes having fun, doing a bit of fishing on the water, having a laugh. So, and for $20, that's probably one of the cheapest comps going around at the moment.
I think so. And the mechanics of entering, you don't have to pre-enter anymore. Like we all love talking to Kim on the phone, getting the entries in. But for the cost of one tournament, for one tournament last year, you can do all 4 of the series this year. And the way you're going to do it is you'll have entry forms on the day, but you'll also be able to like download an entry form and print it out. Just have it already filled out. $20 in it. Give Bo the golden handshake, and you're in the tournament for the day. But we do have one concession for the guys that think they're going to whack them. It's the Pro Up. Tell us how the Pro Up works.
Yep. So you'll have the choice on the morning. You can come up to me and say that you'd like to go into the Pro Up stage, and we're just going to have a little jar where you put $20 in, and whoever goes into the Pro Up will be eligible at the end. It'll be a winner take all. So if you are the highest, you may not have won the comp, but you may be the highest placing person in the Pro Up. You will take the cash. So really, you could turn it into a $40 comp for some of you.
High stakes, yes.
High stakes, yep. And you could walk away with, I reckon there'll be a few boys in it. So I'm going to say it'll be nearly $200. A
few $100 in the kitty to help you hedge for the day.
That's it.
So one of the other things we've done is we've worked with some of the Bass Pro sponsors. We've worked with the guys from 13 Fishing and Rapala. We've got a couple of prize packs. We've got one, I think it's from BKK, our sponsor last year. The guys from Nomad Tackle have got together like a big bass pack for us, and we also have a really cool. It's got about 8 or 10 baits in it. A Rapala pack with all of the cool, trendy new Rapala baits. That I even think it's not even going to be merit-based. It's going to be, if you're there on the day, we're going to draw a name out of the hat at the end of the day, someone's going to win several $100s worth of Rapala baits just for going and having a crack.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of fun that we're going to have this year. As you said, Rapala have done these little packs up for us, and we're just going to put the key tags in a bucket, draw your key tag out, and if your key tag comes out, win a chicken dinner, you've got a Rapala pack to go home with.
Now, just because we've lowered the entry fee for the series, it does not mean that we have lowered the grand final. So the grand final, it's still our big event for the year. It's $100 and something to fish. I don't know what it was last year, 150, 180, something like that. But you get one of the ABT 2023 tournament shirts you'll get with it. But the first prize, tell us exactly what that's going to be. That's pretty good good odds for the money you're spending.
Yeah, so pretty much $20 will get you into the grand final, but you will have to pay your membership fee, which I think is about $70, $80. Yep. $50. Yep. So yeah, and once that's done, you'll be eligible to go into the grand final, where you will be up for grabs a Alloy Craft P395, and fingers crossed, if they are in Australia by time, you will have one of the new aviators by Mercury, probably the 7.7E, I think it is.
Well, yeah, we don't know how they're rated yet. It's a bit light on but it looks like a motor that a V8 Mercury has humped Evie from Wally. Like it's a very cool looking motor. It'll look great on the back of that boat. It's the same boat that you and the guys from the Bluefin team have got. You've all got these P395s. They're a great looking punt. They're live wells. They're just ready to go fishing in.
Yeah. They're super light. I've got a 40 pounds on the back of mine and a 55, and I'm getting 7 Ks comfortably with myself in there. So you don't have to go super fast in these comps. Pick a bank, fish it. Good luck.
Yep. And if you haven't got a live well in your boat, you can use an esky as a live well. You can't use the old plastic tubs that aren't insulated, but any insulated container which is 60 litres or more, so a 60-litre esky is fine. You put an aerator in it, or you can put one of the Rapala floating aerators in it, a couple of batteries in, and away you go. And the world's your oyster. Fish one event, you can make the grand final. So and everyone who fishes an event has qualified for the grand final. Take us through the calendar for the year. Where are we going on the tour?
Okay, so at the start, we are going to start at Korakai. So Korakai is the 26th of February.
Yep. We can look up the dates anyway. Just give us a rundown of the arena, because that's
first round will be Korakai.
Yep.
That'll be a great spot there. Then we're going to shoot down to the Clarence River. We're going to go up Brush Grove for the Clarence. that'll be a
And
nice.
everyone finishes with a meal at the Brushy Pub at the finish.
Yep, weighing at the Brushy Pub, so it'll be nice cold beer.
Yep.
Chicken snitty, be good. Then we're going to head up to Hinds for the Queensland boys, and Hinds, McDonald, and grand final at the almighty Wyaralong.
And the Wyaralong, man, I thought that maybe it lost a few of those big bass out of Wyaralong, but man, there are lots of big bass still in that joint. How good were those bags that Casey caught last year to put that 5 kilo plus 2 fish bag on the scales?
I hope Casey's not playing this year because
I think there is no way he is not playing.
No, that's exactly right. I reckon when he saw Wyaralong for the grand final, his lips licked. Yeah, his bag was extraordinary. Him and Adrian made a nice little run, and look, they both came back with some killer bags that day. So that was my first time fishing it, and I thought, what a great venue. Let's have a grand final there.
Yep, that's great. And I think the guys running it, the Bluefin fishing team, like Westy and Adrian had their time running the series. I made a few calls around, and the Bluefin guys were like, yes, let's do it. Introduce the guys, I suppose, that are helping you run it.
Okay, so there's myself. There will be Elion and Marcus. They are the two other competitors that have the P395 by Allocraft in the Bluefin team. But then also this year you will see Connor. He's got his own Bluefin boat, so he'll be coming down, and Declan will be more than likely joining Marcus as well. So there will be, hopefully at most events, at every event there'll be 3 of us, but there could be 5, and Mr. Bill Latimer has mentioned that he might come around and bring his big boat to the river rounds and do a bit of filming for us. So
nice.
If you see a big boat come speeding up to you, it's probably Bill trying to get some video footage of you. So don't throw too many sinkers at him, boys.
There you go. Well, that's good. And look, I really appreciate the fact that you guys have taken it by the horns. We've got we got the series to a point where we're trying to take all the barriers away to entry, come along and have a good time, because at the end of the day, sure, you're fishing to who catches the biggest bass, but we've all done enough tournament fishing now to know that when it's your day, it's your day. Now, I know it was your day at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Bass Grand Final, Clarence River, non-beta champion, Bo Everly. Take us through, because I haven't had a chance to really talk to you about it. Take us through that day, how good the one day was fishing that won you so much tackle your kids couldn't unwrap it in a month.
Yeah, no, look, that was pretty special. I've fished the reef probably 50 times since then and have not had it as sweet as what I got that day. So I haven't taken that for granted one bit, but then also was stoked to win, but I was also a little bit gutted for a couple of the boys that were really close to me as well, like Jay Hardy, Cameron Hall, like they're really good mates, and for them to be that close, and unfortunately the weather didn't want to play for us that weekend and I walked away with it. Could have really came down to a great Sunday on the water. So, but unfortunately the weather played its game. I was lucky enough to be in the front at day one and took it away.
And as Michael Caton would say in the castle, suffer in your jocks. Those boys will be trying to win that off you next year, mate. I think Cameron's progressing to being a boater this year, I think. So he's lost his chance.
He lost his chance. There might be a little friendly challenge at the Open. I'll just say that.
There you go. Bo, thanks very much for coming up. You've done your training at the office here. You've got the scales in your possession there. You've got all the kit there, and it was only a couple of things you forgot. We're going to drop them in on the way to Victoria, mate. So anyone that wants to ask any more questions about it, reach out to you on social media or any of the Bluefin team, and you can there's no such thing as an embarrassing question. Just ask the questions, and you will set the guys on the right path to their Bass Electric tournament winning career.
Exactly.
Too easy. Well, mate, thank you very much for that. And we'll see you in February.
No worries. See you then, guys. Look forward to it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brad Taylor with Mercury Marine. I'm a product integration engineer. The This is our Avatar concept. We wanted to bring the actual concept here and show everybody. Instead of everyone, they've seen it on the website, but we wanted to bring it here in person. This is actually a live working tiller unit. This is the, we've detuned it here, but just to kind of show you the aspects of an electrified outboard that we feel would be beneficial in the marketplace. As you can see, quiet NVH, no smoke, no idling, just silent operation. The idea of a concept motor is to take all the ideas. Everyone has questions about electrification. It's how big does the battery need to be? What types of batteries? Where does the motor need to be? What kind of features does it need to have? What should we integrate? What should we not integrate? What features is the customer that's looking at this going to seek out? Are they looking for the quietness of it? Are they looking for the environmental concept of it? Are they looking for the latest technology? And in order to figure out which one of those key aspects, all of them or one of them to focus on, we need to have a concept. We need to be able to show somebody, here's an idea, in order to be able to take that idea to what you see over here with the new V10 launch. We needed to put a display on it that is integrated into the cowling instead of the old alarms, horns, and red LED that shows you something's wrong. We realized that with an electrified outboard, you might need to see a bunch of information. So how do we integrate that into the outboard and not make you have to have a whole helm and a console? The shifting, do we need detents? Do we not need detents? How much are people going to interact with the handle? What features do we need from the existing Tiller 25, 30, 99 Pro kicker? So this is what we came up with. It's a very exciting project. It challenges Mercury in a lot of ways. We're able to build upon our knowledge of outboards in the marine environment, corrosion, wiring, cables, sealing, gear cases, propellers, and then take all that knowledge that we have and say, okay, what's applicable? What can we take from what we've always learned over these 80 years of being Mercury and then turn that into something completely new. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, there you go. Is there anything we won't do for ABT Live? Went all the way to Lake X, Mercury's Lake X in Orlando, Florida, to shoot that little 3-minute segment and to show you just what the Mercury Avatar motor looks like. Pretty cool looking bit of kit. Mercury's pretty light on information of actual specs of the motors to date, but there is a working prototype there. Did see it going, so it's going to be a pretty cool bit of kit moving down the road. I think we're going to we'll draw the prize for the where you're watching from. You've got last chance to put it down below there. Nicole will draw that in with the next segments. The last segment on the show tonight, of course, it is all about the Barra. We've got the Venom Rods Barra Australian Open happening up in Lake Wonga at Gladstone. It's only about half full at the moment, not even going close to running over. There's heaps of meter Barra in there. And LJ from LJ's Complete Angler in Gladstone is going to tell us exactly how to catch them. So welcome Liam from LJ's at Gladstone. This is our ABT member tackle store up in the, well, what is it? The gateway to everything, Gladstone, isn't it? Wonga, the Reef, Gladstone Harbour. There's nothing you can't catch in Gladdy, is there?
Nah, mate, we're pretty spoiled up here. I wouldn't change it for too much. We get the best of the southern species as well as the northern species. So pretty grateful to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your shop, because it's like the most picturesquely located tackle shop in Australia. I think you're right where the Heron Island ferry pulls in there. You got manicured lawns, little air conditioned shop there, and it is packed full of all of the most fantastic lures you can find. It's like a candy store in a candy store, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, we try and fit as much in the little space we got as possible. But like you said, we're pretty lucky where we are. You know, you look out the front and you got the nice green grass and a bunch of beautiful motorboats and fuel wharf and everything else right there.
And look, I'm not saying that there's a lot of girls in bikinis going to Heron Island, but that's what I've seen.
You obviously know what time to come, eh? You come before 9:30 in the morning.
That's it, mate. You've been involved with ABT for a few years now. We've been coming up to Gladstone to run the BREAM events, but then we've always sort of run that event together with a Barra event on a Wonga. And of course, a Wonga hasn't run over for a while. It's getting hyper stocked at the moment. So many fish in that sort of meter class now in the lake. How's it been fishing through the summer? Like, we haven't had any overspill events. People aren't terrified of the Barra going like they are in Mondi. How's it been going?
Mate, it's been fishing very well through periods. So, you know, it's obviously we haven't had a typical summer. You know, it hasn't really been hot until now.
Yeah.
So, you know, when normally we have that fire up when it hits 28, 29 degrees, we look like we're getting it, and then it drops back down to 25, 24, and then it looks like it's coming up and drops back down. Yeah. Touch wood, it looks like we're at the start of that fire up now. You know, we've got 28, 29 degrees. I did find plenty of fish out there over the past 7 days.
Yep.
But it should, like I said, it's very inconsistent with where they are too. I think the teams this year are going to have to fish a lot of different styles. It's not going to be just finding a point and throwing slickies at that point. You know, you're going to have to mix it up. We found them only 2 days. Found them out in 7 meters of water.
Yep.
They're all over the show. We actually had a really good bite on vibes. So
cool. So it's just not going to be the standard every you know, pick your point, be the first there. You're going to have to be a bit flexible this year. And open, it's a 3-day event, so you're not going to just be able to, you know, catch a 60 or 70 kilo limit one day and then coast on that. You're going to have to catch them every single day.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. I think if you can catch, like you said, the fish are all a good size at the moment. If you can get that bag, you're certainly going to be in the run. If you can have 3 days of 5 fish, they're all going to be 97 plus. So yeah, if you can mix it up and you can manage to catch that 5 fish bag, then I think you're going to be in the run.
Now, as always, we tend to launch the open at your store. There we have the briefing at your store. The guys are always in looking for the latest. You know, what's the local lure that the Barra are biting on at the moment? What's the gun lure for the lake? What you selling the most of?
Well, mate, we got all ours, like I said, on Vibes the other day. We had a 5 fish evening. And it was that vibe there. That's a Yakamito, which is our brand, but it's that colour. It's that black and gold. You know, it's always been an Awonga favourite, black and gold. So that, and then the other one that we were using was that new Xeric colour. Which the Anita Barra guys did, and I think if they're fishing it, they'll probably have a fair bit of success vibing with that, with the way the fish are at the moment.
That's awesome. And look, that's ABT's motto: "Who shares wins." Good to see those guys developing a colour, giving away. This is how you catch the fish on it, and you know, the sponsors, the retailers, all benefiting from that. It's how the cycle works, and we're really hoping that Awonga is sort of replaced on the map this year as, you know, one of Queensland's premier Barra empowerments. The stocks are ready for it, you know. Then we're now that hatchery's up and running, you know, we're only expecting good things moving forward, aren't we? How's the hatchery going? I've heard they've had a few little stumbling blocks.
Oh, they had a few little hiccups, but I think they're up and running in full swing now. But you think, you know, it's only going to be less than 12 months, probably even the end of this year, and we'll be back to throwing jerk baits in the tree, catching smaller fish, but then you're a chance of a 120 at the same time. So it's going to be some pretty exciting fishing in not much further ahead.
Yeah, and look, when I was up there only a couple of weeks ago and I couldn't get to Mackay because the rain was so heavy, man, the weed beds are setting up nice for frogging nowadays. We're on the cool down period. When we just got there was some frog bites going on, and I assume if that water temp gets up, it's going to be off the charts again.
Mate, like I said, we seen a fair few fish tailing, what was that, 2 days ago?
Yep.
We're probably a little bit late for a frog bite.
Yep.
But I've been itching to get back out and throw a frog. I know you got one pretty much straight away the other day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's looking, and the weed beds are forming really nicely, especially up the back of the dam. You know, around the mouth of Fudder and even up into Fudder a little bit. Looks really good at the moment.
No, I agree, mate. The dam is looking prime. The entries are coming in. You guys have got all the gear that we need, and let's have the fingers crossed that the Venom Barra Australian Open this year going to be a record crowd, and someone is going to catch a record limit. If we have that 30ish short of teams, that's $15,000 cash prize in there, so it'll be $5 or $6 grand for first prize. Well worth winning. What's the locals keen to give it a crack this year as we're more established in the area?
Mate, I'm getting a lot of interest from locals. I think everyone's sort of holding off to see how it's fishing. But like I said earlier, this is the first consistent weather we've had, like looking forward from now.
Yep.
So if we can get that consistency through the next month, it's going to fish off its head.
Yep.
And I think there'll be a lot of locals jump on board. Like I said, there's a lot that have been coming in and talking about it that haven't pulled the pin yet.
Yep.
But I think they're going to jump on board as it improves, especially over the next month.
Well, that's awesome, mate. Thank you very much for giving us an update of how it's fishing. We're going to talk to you a little bit later in the year as well, because we're coming back to Gladstone for its great bream fisher that we love. But at the moment, it's all about Barra. If anyone wants to know what's happened at Lake, give LJ's a call. Your staff there, your old man, you know everything that's going on at the lake, so you can point you in the right direction, can't they? Any sneaky questions, you can send them in the right direction.
Yeah, that's it. We're getting updates daily. I had a couple of phone calls this morning, actually, giving me a couple of little updates of some people that fished it last night and the night before. So
nice. All right, mate. Well, who knows? You might be the you're fishing this year.
I am fishing this year, mate. I actually am going to be here this year, so I get to fish it. So that's why I was a little bit hesitant talking about the vibes that have been working. But like you said, who shares wins.
That's it, mate. Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for your time today.
Thanks, mate. You have a good one.
Well, here they are. This is the winning team from the Venom Rods Barra Australian Open last year. Jeff and Keegan, you guys, what did you do? You gave the whole field a one-day head start and then mowed them down to take home $5,000 and the title and that great-looking trophy behind you. Are you ready and raring to defend your title this year?
Well, just on that last event, we were very fortunate that weekend that football was on TV. Because trying to catch a fish in daylight was like, I don't know if anyone caught any in daylight. So we were lucky that the finals were on. But as far as are we ready now? Yeah, I'm actually heading down there tomorrow.
Oh, a bit of sneaky pre-fishing. Is it going with you, Keegan, or are you sending him off on an adventure?
No, he's going to go to a run. Is he going down there?
Paul Aldis.
Paul Aldis, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stay up here. I've got a few things to do up here, so then I'm gonna team up with my new partner for the ABT coming up towards the end of the year, and we're gonna do a couple of runs around the dams. So looking forward to that now. So, yeah.
Now I've heard a rumor, Jeff. Are you making a comeback at the Barra Tour this year?
Yes, I have actually booked a cabin. I've booked a cabin, all sorted. I've not finalised the partner yet. I've got someone maybe. I'd like it to be Phil.
What about the old get the gang back together?
The likely lads.
I don't know if where Phil is more of a golfer now. He's took to golfing and he's doing well. I think he was champion player at his age this season, just finished.
Do they have an 80+ division?
So yeah, you know why we eased off together, fishing together in the comps. It was a bit much for us two old cranky old buggers getting around the boat and that. We were looking for a young cabin boy to help us along and that. So
well, it worked for you at the Open last year. Let's talk a little bit about how you think the lake. We know it fished a little bit difficult last year, but we found you found this nice shallow water pattern that got you the money in the end. You're at the other end of summer now. We're going to have obviously a lot warmer water. The fish might be a little bit more spread. There's going to be a bit more weed in there. How do you think the lake's going to fish relatively? Is it going to be totally different? Everything's going to be useless to you? Or is it going to be some things you learn that are still going to keep on keeping on?
Well, personally myself, I've never fished a Wonga towards the start of a year. So it's going to be a new experience for myself. I've always fished it in the back half of the year, so coming November, December. So I think
I've had a few trips down this time of year, and usually January and this time of year can be tough because you seem to have gone to that really hot water. You know, you get that build up of fish as they come out of winter, and you get a good October, November. And then it starts to go in December, it goes quiet because of Christmas and one thing and another. Then January, you're into the 30, 32 degrees of water, and that seems to turn the other way. What's different this year is, I believe I was talking to someone the other day, and with the storms and the dull weather that we've been having over the last month, the water temperature's been down around 26.
It has been, and lower. It was 24 when I was there last week, so it was. It may be a different season from normal.
Yeah, so we know majority of freshwater fish, Barra, whatever, they don't like that temperature coming back. You know, it seems to slow them down as the temperatures drop and that. But this week, and the other thing has been the inconsistency with the wind. And a Wonga to me is wind driven. It's, you know, wind makes a massive difference on there.
Yeah.
So it's been a constant east-southeast wind. This week, you couldn't wish for anything better according to the forecast. It's forecasting 5 to 10s. So it's looking like it's good. I don't know what the temperature is now, but I'll find out tomorrow. As far as the shallow water and that goes, I think that's anybody's guess, because what is really difficult, and it's a bit like kinching, it's trying to fish them 18-foot weed edges. You know, because as the water levels have come up and down, the weed edges have got deeper as the and move further and further out into the dam. So ideally, if you could find a nice taper with maybe you'd have 10 foot of water tapering down to that 18, 20 foot, but I reckon that would be hard to find.
After having been there for a few days, any sort of weed you want to find, you'll be able to find it. There is no shortage of weed at all in a Wonga at the moment. You can find thick stuff that you can't get through, sparse stuff that the Barra can swim through, and areas where the weed doesn't like settling on the bottom where there's no weed at all. So I think it's going to be a different sort of event. I think we talked to LJ from Complete Angler up there. He reckons that you're not going to be able to sit on one spot for 3 whole days. You're going to have maybe a few different tricks to your bag to try and put together a limit each day. But the good news is, if you catch a limit each day, the fish are just gigantic at the moment. Good condition, and not one of them is starving to death.
I think what you find at a Wonga as well, when you're seeing them on the deck, on the floor in that 18 to 20 foot, they're hard to get to by.
Yeah.
But if this water temperature can lift them and get them to mid, 10 or 12 foot on them weed edges, I think you've still got a chance. Because we were watching it the other night at Kinchant on the weed. You can see them come out, have a look, and then they'll go back in. And so if they're like that, you can find a few of them. I actually think this next few days, but we're down there, it should be okay with consistency of weather. For the Open, depends on the weather.
That's right. It's going to be the best team on the weekend or on the 3 days of fishing is going to take home the title. And just give us a summary of what it's like being an Open champ. You're probably going to be the shortest Open champ ever because you've only had it for a few months and you're going to have to give the trophy back and try and win it back. But what's it like being the Oz Open Barra champs?
From a personal point of view, and I'll say for me and then Keegan can get his run down. The highlight of my fishing in Australia were the Barra Tour. I still think that's the most prestigious event. And also, it's not just that, it's the people, the camaraderie and everything like that. because you get a few days around to pre-fish and catch up with the guys. Where I found the open was more clinical. You know, you were fishing and then coming back, sleeping, and then going back out again.
There was no central place for everyone to stay, was there really?
No, that's right. There were, yeah. So the thing about it is the payday. The payday for to win $6,000 in a competition, you know, that is the key to it. So yeah, it's important. I've got one major goal left now in what I want to do. I mean, I'd like to win Barra Tour again, but my major goal what I've got left is to win a Barracom fishing with Finn.
With the grandson?
With a grandson, yeah.
No, he wants a new grandson, Keegs. What's going on with that?
Yeah, he's my adopted grandson, though. We've got close. We nearly won one. We come third, and we've had a few up there, but we've never cracked that final spot. So that is my major goal at the moment. But if anything else comes along, I'll really appreciate it.
Now, Keegan, you're obviously not fishing together in the Barra Tour this year. What's your plans for Barra Tour-wise? It'd be nice to, now you've won the Open, it'd probably be nice to win a tour level event at some stage, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so a few of the boys would know who I've partnered up with, but I've asked Jason Crofts to.
Oh yes,
with me. So yeah,
the old man's got the kick, and you're the new one.
Yeah, he said yes before even asking the question. So he's super excited. We're going to be doing Tinaroo and the local rounds of Mackay.
Yep.
So I haven't fished with Jason for a very long time. So I'm going to start in the next coming days, and we're going to start to work out how each other fish and start to formulate some patterns. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for it.
And you know what? I reckon the G2 guys put the most effort in when it comes to getting dressed up for party night too. So you're going to be a fairly hard team to beat on party night.
100%, mate. That's what I'm more excited for than anything.
Well, we even got dressed up for the interview.
Well, I noticed this. You're the best dressed interviewees I reckon I've ever had. Now, tell us a little bit, while we're talking about Barra Tour, we know Mackay's copped a metre of rain recently, and we've probably all seen some of the tragic footage of some of the big fish that have come out of Teenborough. But give us a report about all three of the Barra Tour lakes, Kinchin, Faust and Teenborough. How did they shape up after that flogging of rain?
Starting with Kinchin. Kinchin, they have an issue there with flooding, so they introduced a rule a couple of years ago that when it gets to 87%, they've got to start releasing water. So it got up to 92 because the release or the inflow were a bit higher than. But we went the other day and it's back down to where it were. So
no run over, no effect really.
No lost fish, no.
Yep.
Teenborough were like sickening to watch it, what we're going, because we've seen it before. And that went over about 2 meters. So you've seen the footage and everything like that, but there is reports that there's still fish being seen on the sounder and fish being caught. But we have, MAFSA have got a fundraiser going, which, you know, is on Facebook. It's a GoFundMe page. That's up to nearly $8,500 at the moment.
Yep. That's fantastic, isn't it? That's a great response from the angling community.
It is a great response, yeah. And it's hard to tell whether it's getting shared around and everybody's seeing it, but I mean, we've also been got 12,000 going in, which is part of the SIPs, was already planned before this. And then there's some other potential contributions from fish breeders that might put some onto us as well. So it'll be mainly big fish. I mean, I think what will happen next year, possibly, there'll not be as many meaty fish caught as there have been in the past. It might be a smaller venue, but still be fish caught.
Yep.
Faust, I've followed that one, that's come up 3 meters, but it's still 3 meters below the spillway. So we know that there's water up the river now. Some guys have been up there fishing. I guess the big benefit, what we think might happen, is that it's drowned all the weed. So we might be able to get better edge fishing next year where new edges are going to form, new weed edges are going to form. Maybe not as dependent on the trees as what we were. So
yeah, and you get the more of those significant weed flats too, like especially down at the horse paddocks.
Yep.
I've seen it before in the past where you get the increase of water and those real shallow flats just become alive.
Yeah. And I suppose any big influx like that means the food chains kick along. You get a lot of bonies breeding, and it means there's plenty of food for them in future years.
Yeah, and I think that's what Faust needed, because when, you know, some of the fish were like what we call graveyard fish, that they had no guts to them. They were long fish, which are good tournament fish, but they didn't have no weight about them.
Yep.
So hopefully now that what we're hearing is they're catching a lot of fish on the edges, which is similar to what happened at Wonga, where when he comes up, the bait fish move in for all the bugs and the grubs, and obviously if the bait fish are on the edges, then the barra are going to be on the edges as well. So we believe that's what's happening at the moment. So there might be, over the next week or so, a quiet period, because that seems to be the experience. Once that weed starts to die, it sours all the edges, and then the fish move out again.
That's right. I think the overall story is it's not a disaster for the Barra Tour. Some of the lakes have got a good flush out. Faust will get a nice flush out. Teamborough might have lost a few big fish, but overall it's looking like it's going to be a cracking tour again for 2023.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I couldn't make it last year I had a mate come over from England who I used to fish with over there, and I gave it up for that, but did I suffer a big FOMO? Not worthy.
That's it.
I never were on. I were on whenever I got a chance. I were on there following it.
No, that's awesome. Look, I really appreciate you making the time to catch up with us this afternoon. We wish you all the best of luck come end of February. ABT's got 2 Brim and 2 Bass events before then, but at the end of February, we're straight up to Wonga. Word has it that we've already got 16 or 17 teams entered. If we can end up with over 30 teams, it'll be the biggest open in modern history. Plenty of cash for you boys to win, and the best team's going to win it come the day.
Yeah, well, effort will be there. Just hope that we get the strategy right.
That's right. So, guys, we'll catch up with you at the Open. Thanks for joining us on ABT Live.
Yeah, cheers, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go. How was that for a first show of 2023? I think we covered everything. Bass Electric, Bass Pro, Brim, Barra. It was all there, and it's all happening for you in February. So I'd love to see a lot of you. Maybe come back to an event, come and try your first event. We'd love to see you at any of our events. Jake Hardy from Spring Ridge in New South Wales, you've won yourself the prize pack. I've already taken it all away and packed it up into its box. That will go in Australia Post on Friday. We're not coming in tomorrow on Australia Day. And with Australia Post normal standard delivery, about March you should have it, and you'll enjoy the gear then. What I've also got is littering the office at the moment are heaps of these boxes here. I think you can just see it in the corner of the camera. These are our little checklist box things that are going to the event. So we're putting them all together at the moment. At the moment, here's going to be the Atomic Bass, Big Bass prizes, the Mercury bonuses for the Hunter River, the Rapala bonuses where the non-boaters are going to get the free Rapala shirts to wear again. We've got rods to give away, Samurai Reaction rods for Big Bass, Omen bait cast rods. BKK is a sponsor with their Nomad Lures. That's one of the prize packs. Check out the big bags from Kitech this year. Bait and Sparrow's gone over and above with fantastic hits for the bass stuff. We've got Rapala packs. We've got multiple Rapala packs, big and little ones, with reels, without reels. These are all the non-boater prizes we've got. We've got some of these magic, the magic cup holders. They hang sideways on. I don't know if they're going to hold those on top of the table or not. Eco gear packs. Check out all the kit there. We've got some SX60s, some little laydown minnows, and some vibes. One non-boater wins all of those packs, and of course the boaters win all of the cash for the weekend. So we're putting those together at the moment. We're waiting for the last 3 or 4 companies worth of prizes to come in. You can be rest assured that whether you're fishing in Perth or East Gippsland or Gladstone, you are going to have some kick-ass prize packs, some great payouts from some of the country's best sponsors. We've got a great group of sponsors at ABT, great group of anglers that love fishing them, and we love putting them on. So keep up with all the information, www.abt.org.au. Check out the entry lists. You can get the entry forms there. Keep an eye out in your email box for that tournament guide, which will come with the free February Fishing Monthly magazine. It'll be in your email box on Friday. And we will see you guys in events. Thanks, Nicole, for putting it together. We are out. Happy Australia Day.